is an assistant professor of policy studies over at the Ethiopian Civil Service University. He joins us from Addis Ababa. Good to have you on the show, Mukerrem. When the demonstrators say they're opposed to foreign meddling, who exactly do they mean?
Obviously, I think the United States and some Western European countries are the ones who are being indirectly addressed, I guess.
Okay, talk to us about how effective this alliance of 9 anti-government groups, when they got together in Washington to sign a joint memorandum, how effective can they be?
Well, for one thing, I think I should point out that before the actual fight began between the TPLF and the federal government, these forces, the federalist and confederalist forces, have been largely working with the TPLF political forces for about 5 years, and some of them don't necessarily have a significant social base in the country. For instance, I would say like the Sidama regional states affiliated individuals, those who claim to represent the Somalia regional state, and many others. So I think the coalition, the opposition, who are now coordinating themselves to put significant, in their terms, influence on Abiy Ahmed, I would say not necessarily. No, not necessarily. I don't necessarily think that they will have a significant impact on the federal government. We know that, we already know the role that they have been playing, and we know that they were making, the same thing in the last 2 or 3 years. They were having, different symposiums and seminars with the TPLF in Tigray regional state in Mekelle. So the point I'm trying to make here is what? These opposition groups don't necessarily have significant political base in Ethiopia.
They may not have a political base, but the fact is that the fighting has really exacerbated ethnic rivalries in the country, something that the Prime Minister said that he would solve. I mean, what are the chances that this engulfs the entire country and even worse, spirals into a regional conflict?
Well, I think I should disentangle the point which you have made earlier, that there is an ethnic rivalry here in Ethiopia. By the way, I don't represent the state. I don't work for the state. I'm just an individual academic who researches and takes positions, which I think is nuanced. Now, there is a fight between some ethnic groups, I mean, not necessarily ethnic groups, but individuals who claim to represent these ethnic groups. And following that, there has been incidents of violence, which in some cases become largely social. But as far as they influence the power of these political forces, who are, many of them have been living in the United States for about decades, obviously, but eventually, given the current crisis in Ethiopia with the TPLF forces, they try to take advantage of the opportunity to advance what they think is in the best interest of the people whom they think they represent. But in actual sense, many of them, I don't think that they have a strong foundation in Ethiopia's different ethnic groups or regional states, for that matter. We know that, among others, for instance, the individual who claimed to represent the Sidama people, we know that the people of Sidama have recently undertook a regional statehood referendum, which they have eventually garnered, and now it is a regional state on its own right. So I wouldn't take them seriously, essentially. We know that media outlets in the United States, particularly CNN and Reuters, and the United States as a country has been really taking a stand against the federal government, which in my perspective as an academic, largely biased, largely unreflective of the current situation here in Ethiopia. There are crises, obviously, in the country in terms of economic crisis. We have, it's now a serious cause of concern, not only here in Addis Ababa, where I am currently living, but in different parts of the regional states here in Ethiopia. But when it comes to inter-ethnic relations, when it comes to political stability, the problem is essentially confined to TPLF, which is now in the Amhara regional state. And there is a heavy fight, we know, from media outlets, from private and public media outlets. But apart from that, I don't think there is a serious cause of concern that is tantamount to radical political crises and things of that sort.
All right. Mukerrem Miftah, thank you very much for coming on TRT World. I do appreciate your analysis. Thank you.